Guyana is one of the few countries in the world which has the opportunity to go from least developed to highly developed in a rapid period of time.
The pandemic really hit many countries hard, including the UK, where GDP even shrank. Even those that saw growth barely crawled back to pre-pandemic levels. But guess what? Money is pouring into Guyana, which is quickly being transformed from one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere into the world's fastest growing economy. According to the International Monetary Fund, its economy exploded almost 3 times in just 3 years, making it the fastest growing economy in the world. The country has recorded an astonishing 180% increase in its real GDP over the past 3 years. Yes, you heard it right, 180%. This growth rate is 150% higher than the second-ranking country, Ireland. For those who don't know, Guyana is a small country located northeast of South America, between Venezuela and Suriname. Its population is about 800,000 people, with its capital being Georgetown. As a former British colony, Guyana is the sole English-speaking country in South America. Despite its seemingly modest size, Guyana has become an unexpected economic powerhouse, charting a trajectory of impressive growth in recent years. Now, you might be expecting a tale of a tiny nation ruled by a wild dictator cooking up fake GDP numbers, but nope, not Guyana. The key to its burgeoning prosperity lies beneath its coastal waters: oil. 1/3 of all newly discovered oil worldwide since 2015 has been found in Guyana. The nation now possesses estimated oil reserves totaling around 11 billion barrels, ranking it 17th globally. What sets Guyana apart is not just the magnitude of its oil reserves, but the cost-effectiveness of extraction. A considerable portion of the discovered oil is economically accessible, positioning Guyana as a strategic player in the global energy landscape. Projections indicate that in 2030, Guyana's production capacity will reach 1 million barrels per day, propelling it into the top 20 oil producers globally. Furthermore, the prospects for Guyana's oil industry remain promising, with ongoing discoveries contributing to its potential growth. Initial discoveries were predominantly made by ExxonMobil in 2015, after 7 years of extensive exploration. Subsequently, major players such as Shell, Total, and Hess have heavily invested in Guyana, further boosting its economic indicators, including the impressive GDP figures. This chart shows how its GDP has skyrocketed since it began pumping oil in 2019. Now, while this might sound like the jackpot for Guyana, oil comes with its own set of challenges. It's not the golden ticket to prosperity. In fact, it can be a double-edged sword. Here are 4 fundamental reasons why reliance on oil can be detrimental to a country's economy. Firstly, over-reliance on oil exports can lead to an imbalance in the economy. The lucrative nature of oil, coupled with international demand, can strengthen the national currency, rendering other exports less competitive. For example, an increased demand for Guyanese dollars due to oil purchases may undermine the competitiveness of other vital sectors like rice and sugar. Secondly, dependence on oil taxes instead of taxes from the populace can have adverse effects. Politicians may become less responsive to the needs of the general population and more attuned to the demands of the powerful oil industry. This dynamic can foster corruption and weaken governance structures. Thirdly, the oil industry is inherently volatile, characterized by boom and bust cycles. Over-reliance on oil can subject the economy to constant instability, making it vulnerable to fluctuations in global oil prices. And lastly, oil extraction typically necessitates substantial foreign investment, especially in smaller countries lacking the local resources and expertise for advanced offshore drilling. This reliance on foreign supermajors such as Exxon exposes the nation to potential disregard for its political and economic stability by these external entities. Foreign investors prioritize their own interests, potentially disregarding the host country's long-term stability and development goals. A long-standing controversy exists regarding the validity and fairness of the oil deal between Guyana and Exxon. Detractors argue that the terms heavily favor Exxon, as the company pays no taxes, avoids insurance responsibilities, and has a unique profit-maximizing arrangement. This has prompted skepticism among critics within Guyana about the overall fairness of the deal and its impact on the nation's economic prosperity. This whole mess is called the resource curse, or in simpler terms, the Dutch disease. Picture this. Back in the 70s, the Netherlands hit the jackpot with natural gas reserves, but instead of getting richer, they stumbled into an economic downturn. But hey, it's not a one-way street to doom. Some countries, like Norway, dodged the curse. So how can Guyana escape this potential oil-induced nightmare? Well, maybe having its own state-owned oil company could be a game changer. For countries like Guyana, Adopting proactive measures is imperative to avoid falling victim to the resource curse. Establishing a state-owned oil company and implementing a sovereign wealth fund akin to Norway's sovereign wealth fund managed by Norges Bank Investment Management can serve as prudent strategies to mitigate the risks associated with over-reliance on oil and promote sustainable economic development. Nevertheless, the key to Guyana's success lies not only in its economic measures, but also in addressing political dynamics. Since gaining independence from the UK in 1966, Guyana has grappled with intense political rivalry between the People's Progressive Party, predominantly supported by Indo-Guyanese, and the People's National Congress, with primary sort from Afro-Guyanese. Cooperation between these ethnic-based parties is crucial for the effective governance of Guyana's burgeoning oil industry. If they can overcome their historical differences, Guyana might just find itself ascending to the summit of South American prosperity. The International Monetary Fund forecasts an impressive growth rate of approximately 25% per year until 2027, propelling Guyana's GDP per capita to around $35,000, a figure that would leave its neighbors in the dust and align itself with economic heavyweights like Italy. But here's the twist. Venezuela asserts its claim, challenging an international tribunal's decision dating back to 1899. The recent discovery of oil in Guyana in 2015 further intensifies the situation, with Venezuela expressing a keen interest in annexing the region. The tension peaks when Venezuela conducts a referendum in December, seeking approval for the takeover. However, a diplomatic resolution was reached as both nations agreed not to resort to force. Guyana emphasizes its commitment to peaceful coexistence, while critics suspect Venezuela's motives, suggesting it might be a strategic move by President Maduro in the lead-up to the 2024 presidential elections. As the world grapples with transitioning away from fossil fuels, Guyana stands at a crossroads, eager to capitalize on its oil potential. The decision not to join the OPEC reflects Guyana's desire for autonomy and unrestrained oil production, steering clear of the cartel's production constraints. The country sees its oil as a means to secure present prosperity and perhaps a springboard for future sustainable development. Looking ahead, Guyana faces the daunting task of navigating the challenges associated with newfound wealth. The world watches as the nation endeavors to rise from being least developed to highly developed within a short time frame. By 2035, Guyana aims to be the fourth largest oil producer globally, presenting a unique opportunity to manage its newfound wealth judiciously and foster equitable and prosperous development, a feat few nations have accomplished before. If you enjoyed this insightful exploration of Guyana's oil dynamics and want to stay updated on similar engaging content, consider subscribing to receive more thought-provoking stories. Your support means everything to us. Let's grow together.